We are given this idea that spiritual awakening is a solution to all our problems. It is an end to all misery, all pain. But in my concept, spiritual awakening actually is the beginning of dark night of the soul, an intense pain, an intense suffering that a seeker experiences. And again, we have to first understand what is meant by awakening. So I just present to you again this concept. It is only a concept, and I don't present it to you as a truth. Take it as a concept and see if it resonates with you or not. Spiritual awakening is this realization that the duality of life cannot be separated. The realization or recognition of this duality leads to a deeper recognition of wholeness, which is the substratum, which is both the source and the substance of this duality. So awakening basically is a crack in the structure of the persona or personality, which is the separate self or the ego. Now, a crack is always painful. So when this happens, the seeker first experiences intense pain. Why? Because you see, society, people around you, your loved ones, schooling, environment, everybody around you gave you a blueprint. Okay? They told you study hard, work, get a job, build a family, and make lots of money, and you will be happy. Now, there is nothing wrong with this blueprint. The problematic part is the expectations that are attached with the blueprint. The advertisement of this blueprint does not match the expectations. You see? So the promise of happiness that comes with this blueprint does not match, because as one goes through this phase, you study hard, you attain good positions, you build an image for yourself, and you make a beautiful home, you get a beautiful car, you make lots of money, but still you are not finding any peace. You've got the best job and you're very happy. You say that you're very happy, but still you find yourself struggling. You find yourself stressful. You find yourself tossing between, trying to balance family life and work. So where is that promise of happiness that was given to us, handed over to us along with the blueprint? Again, I'm not saying that these things are bad. Neither am I suggesting that we should all become monks or sannyasis. But what I'm pointing to is that this blueprint that was handed out to us becomes a part of the personality. It is embedded in that fictitious structure that you call as I. So awakening, what it does is it creates a crack through and through. And that crack is not just at the conscious surface, but it goes deep into the unconscious as well. What that means is, imagine like an iceberg. A part of it is floating above the water, a major chunk of it is like a mountain below the water. So the entire structure gets cracked through and through. It does not get killed. It is not completely destroyed, because if the ego is completely destroyed, then you cannot live your life. You need that separative entity to navigate life and living, and that's why it has been given to us. However, there comes a stickiness with it. So with all of this accumulation, I am so and so, I belong to this religion, I belong to this culture, holding superiority based on a culture, region, religion, caste, or whatever, or color, whatever, holding that superiority, we keep on building into that image, more and more into that image. So the I, which is that image, becomes more and more sticky. What that means is it learns to cling and grasp. So you want, as the sense of I, the sense of separateness increases in you, it wants to acquire more. It wants to get more. It wants to hold on to everything. So you want the best relationship, the best job, the best partner, the best in everything. And that is the reason why we experience heartbreak, why we experience pain, why we experience suffering, because that entity then becomes loaded with emotional charge. Because when things don't go according to our way, which is life, we feel disappointed. So awakening is a crack in that structure. And of course, it's going to be painful because you have been carrying all that information since childhood. And you have been told that this is the truth. You will be happy once you do this, 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 this. But you're not experiencing happiness. Life is just passing by. So you question, what is this? What am I missing here? Did people who hand me this have a malicious intent? No. Our parents, our teachers, friends, people in the society, no, they do not operate with malicious intentions, but they do operate with unconsciousness. They are basically handing over a blueprint that did not clearly work for them because they were never happy in the first place following it. But since it felt safe for them, they believe that it is safe, so they handed that blueprint to you, saying that follow this, 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 and you will be set, you will be fine. Only if they would tell us the truth, if they were conscious enough to tell us the truth, if they tell us that, okay, this is the blueprint, so you have to get a job, but even after you get a job, you can be thrown out anytime. You will be poorly treated by your superiors. There will be office politics, and you may not like it. You will have to adjust and compromise at various levels. Sometimes work very hard, and your family life may suffer as a result. And also, let's say in relationships, if people told us that, yes, you can get into a relationship, but it will come with the pain, with the opposite. When your partner will be going through their own challenges, they will shut down. They will not show affection. They will be distant. And then you'll have to navigate that as well. If people were honest about bringing children into this life, and they tell you very joyfully, oh, we want to see our grandchildren, and you must have children. But you see, they don't tell you that the child will come with his or her own destiny. So they may grow up to be a rebel, and they may not listen to you at all, which will bring you pain. They may just completely discard your given blueprint and choose their own life, own destiny, which again may hurt you. They may go through sickness, suffering, which can be very challenging for you to witness. If they gave us that truth along with the blueprint, most of you still, we all go through it, still may follow the same blueprint, but that sticky thing will not be there anymore. We will understand that it comes with the opposite. And that understanding will be a deep understanding of the heart. It is not an intellectual understanding. if people told you that yes, you can make all the money, but the nature of money is constant flow. So you will be happy when it flows in, but you will be extremely anxious when it flows out, and it will flow out because that's the nature of money, that's the nature of wealth. It never stays in one equilibrium. Even for the richest people in the world, it never stays in one equilibrium. So if you're basing your happiness on the fact that your bank account number or your properties number just goes on high and never comes down, then you will never be happy. If you accept the flow, total flow, if you accept that the money is going to come in and it's going to go out, if you accept that your children are going to bring happiness, but they're also going to bring unhappiness, if you understand that if job is your only identification, if that's occupying everything in your life, you probably will have nothing else to look forward to. Even during your weekends, you will be only thinking of work. And you will feel this haunting emptiness within you as to what you're doing with your life. So it is a challenge to all those structures. Spiritual awakening is a challenge. It is the recognition of spirit within the consciousness that illuminates everything. So it is through that crack that you first witness light. So all the wounds comes to the surface, which is dark night of the soul. It is a period of intense confusion with the marked highs and the marked lows. So sometimes you feel connected to God, connected to wholeness. Other times you feel depressed, anxious. And yes, these are also psychological issues, but these are on a grand scale, on a big scale, these are spiritual issues as well. And the realm of spirit is way bigger than the realm of psyche. So if the problem is seen at a spiritual level, then psychological level also gets taken care of. So I do recommend that when one is going through this phase, and if one does not have adequate family support or support of friends, then therapy is a very good option. But again, at some point you will have to turn inwards and face this crack, face this pain, and see what it is. Because see, this pain, what we call as dark night of the soul, is the separate self, is the me that is saying, why has God abandoned me? Because all other worldly things are inconsequential now. You've seen the futility of the blueprint. You may still continue to work and you may still continue to be in relationships, but your heart will yearn towards wholeness, towards peace. It wants to experience the peace of deep sleep in the waking state, because it has tasted presence through that crack, which appeared as bliss. And why was it bliss in that moment? In the moment, the spiritual awakening was bliss. Why? Because there was no you. There was just pure vision, pure seeing. There was no seer. But then the seer comes back. Why? Because without the seer, there is no life. There is no phenomenality. So to interact with people, to live life, the seer is necessary. So the seer does come back. But now its stickiness is way much less effective compared to earlier. So you do feel intense emotions. In fact, now you feel emotions in full intensity because the conscious mind is clear. So you are able to see the source of your discontent, and you can see, not just see, also witness it. But the need to find a solution to the problem just perpetuates this process of the dark night, because it is the separate self that is trying to find a solution to the problem of the separateness. You see the futility? The ego is trying to find a solution to its problem of existence. It is only in the light of witnessing that a deep understanding comes, where this crack widens and one becomes the wholeness that one is looking for. One becomes the love that one is looking for. Then one may or may not follow the blueprint. It depends on an individual's destiny. Some people leave the blueprint and follow a totally unconventional path, which is their own blueprint. Some people keep following the old blueprints, but now the stickiness, the concern is gone. Now you don't care much about making more money or what will be my children's future, how much money I need for my old age, who's going to take care of me when I'm old, health issues, this and that. You're not much concerned about that because you learn to live consciously. You learn to live in the present moment. You're not living in the future in the worry of a future imagination. It is the worry of future which actually causes all these problems, where you require these specialized treatments. When you completely surrender to this moment, you move with whatever is here right now. You flow along with the current, not opposing the current. And that brings peace. Even if the current is turbulent, you do not make effort. You simply rest and relax, fully having faith that the divinity will lead you to the wholeness. The one that created the crack is the one that will dissolve whatever needs to dissolve.